that there not a lot of fancy overlay magic's been done, and that's because this panel has a slideshow attached to it. As you can see right below me, it's our good friend Ian, aka CM Puff, and one of our big, not only our big supporters, but one of the major pullers for the Twitch channel Weeb Speaks, who just recently helped do a charity drive for Black Lives Matter.
No, it was the Trevor Project.
Oh, Trevor Project. Thank you.
Trevor Project.
So if
I
you,
would love to eventually do a BLM one though.
if you can, please give Weeb. Oops, I typed it wrong. Weeb Speaks. Weeb Speaks. Give him a follow. The channel is super interesting, along with Ian's own channel, which he'll type later in.
Yeah, it's without the S. It's Weeb Speak.
My bad. Thank you.
Ooh, it's all good. And then I just posted this myself, and that's my own personal channel that you could follow me on. I do a lot of cool stuff over there when I'm doing stuff, and that's picking up here. So
Okay, Ian, why don't you? Yeah, I was about to say, why don't you tell everybody what we're about to get into?
So we're about to talk about something that's very well, I love anime. Everybody here, I'm hoping, loves anime, and we all love wrestling because this is the Cosplay Wrestling Federation. But did you know that there's this extremely close link to the fact that anime is very wrestling and wrestling is very anime?
I mean, anime usually likes to use random wrestling moves as gags. You'll see just German suplexes out of nowhere, but
bulldogs, really awesome things. I mean, when you say German suplex, all I think of is Nichijou. That's literally all I think of. But yeah, anime is wrestling and wrestling is anime. We're going to get more into the fact that anime is wrestling during the slideshow because I didn't get to construct the wrestling as anime, but that's an easy subject for us to just spitball and talk on towards the end. So let's dive into it. Pro wrestling and anime, the ties are closer than you think. And really quickly, before we do get started, there is an amazing video on this subject from Crunchyroll's Tim Liu, which if you've never seen, I highly recommend that you go watch it. It is absolutely phenomenal and fantastic, and it's really funny and goofy. And Tim Liu is a great guy.
I know that video. I'm slightly low key jealous because I've been saying that for the longest time, and he got paid to do it. So
I know.
I know Tim Liu is an accomplished journalist and knows his shit, but I'm like, you could get me to do it.
You could get the entire CWF to do an entire series on it. So for those of you who aren't, who haven't known, somebody earlier this year or late last year had a sign in the audience that said WWE is redneck anime. I mean, they're not wrong. It's one of my favorite things to see. But really quickly, common wrestling terms for people who don't know. We've got babyface or face, which means a good guy. Heel, which is a bad guy. Heat, which is a jeer or a negative reaction from the crowd. Pop, which is a cheer or a positive reaction from the crowd. Jobber, someone who loses routinely to build someone else's credibility, often quickly as well. Which in case they will lose. We've got a mid-carder who is someone who is in the middle of the card. They beat low-card wrestlers, but generally never win against main eventers. Kayfabe, which is the presentation of professional wrestling as being entirely legitimate or real, because as we know, wrestling is predetermined. It's an art. It's an act of some sort. And then we've got stable, which is a unified group of wrestlers of at least 3 or more. And then we have one more page of this.
Yeah, these wrestling terms are, I mean, it sounds a little weird that we're opening up with the dictionary stuff, but that is because Ian will be saying these a lot during the presentation. So
yeah,
let's get get acclimated.
Getting acclimated is a big part because we're going to talk about a lot of similarities. So next we've got squash match, which is a one-sided match oft used to put over a dominant force. You have a face heel turn. When a character changes alignment, this can happen quickly or slowly. And then promo, which is an in-character monologue or interview.
Short for promotion because they're literally promoting the next fight.
Yep. So now that that's all out of the way, anime that are surprisingly like wrestling, these are ones that you necessarily wouldn't think have this connection to somehow being a part of wrestling And one of the things that I really like about this is that well, I crowdsourced this list from the rest of the CWF cast. So let's see what they helped me come up with. We've got Oron High School Host Club, Kaguya-sama Love is War, Phoenix Wright, which was your suggestion.
Oh, yes.
I remember that. Death Parade, and The World God Only Knows, which in Japan is also known as Kaminomi. Its full title is really long, but people call it Kaminomi. So we're going to start with the host club's kayfabe. As you remember, I was talking about how earlier that there is kayfabe is the presentation of the legitimacy of what they're doing is the presentation that wrestling is entirely real, is legitimate and entirely real. Well, the host club themselves have a kayfabe in that the way they present themselves as hosts to those who are coming for their services. So, for instance, Tamaki, he acts very poised and confident, but outside of the host club itself, he's this big, giant, stupid buffoon.
I want to put a real quick distinction on what kayfabe is. It's a little different from suspension of disbelief, because kayfabe is the belief you take something that you see on TV or in the narrative and apply it to real life. So if we were watching Avatar: The Last Airbender and the kayfabe is the Fire Nation is attacking everyone, we in our real life be like, damn, Fire Nation, F those guys. Like in our real life. It's an important distinction.
Yes. So Kaoru and Hikaru, their like point of kayfabe is to pretend that they're generally really actually way closer than they actually are. Like they're still close because they're twins, but they have their disagreements, they get into fights, and they're brothers, but they present themselves as something a little more, I guess you could say, unsavory.
Incestuous.
Kyoya is very charming and cool. He's the cool guy, but outside he's very cold and distant and very terse with everyone. I guess a little minus Haruhi. He's very he's sort of kind to Haruhi, but that's a different subject matter entirely if you want to break down the entire cast. Honey is very cute, but everybody forgets that Honey has this other side to him where he's just a stone cold badass. Like, I still remember that last episode. He's like, no, I'm going to fight all these guys. And I was like, what? So I really like that. And then Mori is still stoic in the manga, but he actually really speaks more, especially in the manga. So he just is this silent, strong type in the host club, but outside of the host club, he has way more lines. They didn't really show that off per se in the anime. And then Haruhi is self-explanatory. Haruhi presents in the kayfabe as being male, whereas Haruhi is actually a female. So that's like some basis right there.
Yep.
It's their dichotomy is just really interesting, both inside and outside.
But yeah, that's the important thing, is that the host club members hold their kayfabe so strong that they have to hide it from the rest of their classmates.
Yes. So like
they're protecting the business, Ian.
Yeah, they hold up this front, not just inside the host club, but whenever they're around other people outside of the host club as well. They really like put up this whole thing. Tamaki is like, he's still sort of smart because he actually like thinks things through, but he plays this like acting poised and confident person and is still just generally this moron. Yeah, he's a moron,
but we love him for it.
He's wonderful. Okay, this was my favorite slide to make. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love The World God Only Knows, and it's like one of my favorite animes of all time, but this is my favorite slide to make. And that is Kaguya-sama in the eternal I Quit match.
How long did it take for you to find that screenshot, or was it one of those things where I know the scene?
It literally just, I like searched for Kaguya-sama and I knew that a screenshot like this existed, and I just like found it within the first 5. So I was really excited
You were
about that. So
blessed
for
by
those
the.
of you yeah, I was blessed by image search. For those of you who don't know what an I Quit match is, it's a stipulation match where one person is trying to get the other person to say, I quit. And if you've seen Kaguya-sama, then you exactly know where this is going, because Kaguya and Miyuki are eternally locked in an ongoing struggle, and the win is only going to come to the person who confesses to the other person that they love them. The whole like way that they go about it too is just various degrees of like in the cover of dark trying to get one person to say it, and just when they think they're going to get it, the other person says something else, and it's very it drives the tension to very high untold amounts. And there haven't really been too many I Quit matches, but the biggest one that always comes to mind for people is The Rock versus Mankind. It was like, I think, one of the first I Quit matches too, at least on WWE.
Ian,
Um,
can you quickly break down the significance of the I Quit match as a stipulation in terms of narrative tension? Why is I Quit more higher stakes than just getting your opponent to be pinned, KO'd, or submit?
so an I Quit match is a test of will and a test of resolve. So, because nobody wants to quit, nobody wants to admit that they quit something. In fact, for those of you who don't know, spoiler for a match that's like 2 decades old, The Rock only got Mankind to quit by knocking him out and then using audio from a promo that Mankind like was shouting, I quit, I quit, I quit, in terms of saying that he's going to get The Rock to say that. And he only won the match, quotation marks, that way. And it was cheating, but heels do what heels do. Uh this match is so interesting because it's literally a referee watching it and then asking or carrying a mic around, because sometimes the mic gets involved, for somebody to be like, do you quit, do you quit? And like they'll be in strenuous positions of submission holds, beaten and broken with like chairs, tables, etc. And as the match continues, it escalates and escalates, and everything just like crescendos off, I would say.
Thanks. I just really want to nail that home for the
Yeah.
non wrestling savvy fans. Um, it is beating your opponent to they have to say they're done, as opposed to the referee
Yeah.
saying that they're done.
Yeah, they're the ones admitting that they quit, and the fact that they're like, nobody ever wants to admit to quitting in something, which is one of the reasons why we bring this up. Quitting is terrible. That makes this more like, that gives it that tension, that what am I looking? There's a word I'm looking for and I can't find it in my vernacular right now.
Escalation.
Yes, thank you. That's one of them. It gives it that escalation for it to rise and show something very different than what we're used to seeing in just like a normal match or just like a regular hardcore match. But yeah, this is, just watch an episode of this if you, excuse me, never seen it. You will definitely see exactly what I'm talking about. And then the courtroom match. So Phoenix Wright.
Wait, was this your first time ingesting any Phoenix Wright media because of this?
No, dude. No.
Okay.
No, I've played Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright is a very serious series about two men who are eternally locked opposed juxtapositions of what justice is.
And it's also very important that Ian uses the right room, and he doesn't say courtroom trials. He says courtroom battle.
Yeah, it's a battle. It's not an actual trial. Trials are handicap matches in this show, in this game. It is not Phoenix just facing the prosecutor. It is Phoenix facing the prosecutor, facing the person on the witness stand, facing the judge. It's literally a 3-on-1 handicap match. And it's very, very unfair. His first match is also against a jobber in the form of Payne. I don't remember Payne's first name.
Winston
but
Payne.
Is
Winston
Payne. Yeah, Winston Payne. Winston just loses to people because he's bad at his job. That's it.
In fact,
he's just
Winston Payne in every single game. You fight Winston Payne as the first case.
Yep. You literally, because like they always, every first case is just like either some sort of this is this attorney's first case, or it is like for instance with Phoenix in the second one, if I remember correctly, he gets hit over the head and therefore gets amnesia as a way to teach people how to play the game again.
Yes, that is.
Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant.
All right.
Brilliant.
Sure that...
Brilliant reframing, by the way.
But yeah. So, there's an he's just Phoenix is just good. Phoenix is just freaking way too good for his own good. He is a specialization in handicap matches, and it's dumb. And multi-man matches, because he can deal with anything. He literally can deal with anything.
He literally is the underdog babyface.
He is 100% the underdog babyface. Shout outs to Alex.
Our Phoenix Wright.
Our Phoenix Wright. Shout outs to him. All right. This is the second slide I really enjoyed making, even though all these slides are very bare bones. And that's the many turns of Death Parade. For those of you who've never seen Death Parade, please watch this show. It's 13 episodes long. This is another reason why I did this panel, is to get on a soapbox to say, go watch and or play this thing because it's really good. Death Parade shows the psychology of human conditions when you take certain things away from them and you throw in other elements, which are really fascinating. And it has to deal a lot with death and how death like happens, what the afterlife is, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just phenomenal and fascinating. However, the real reason why we're talking about it is because the way Death Parade presents its information is you don't know who the face or the heel is. And when you find out who the face and who the heel is, things go haywire. Because oftentimes you'll believe, oh, this person's the face, this person's the heel. And then the episode does like a complete like 180 and goes, actually, that person was the heel the whole time and this person's the face, and they just switch positions. In just episode 1, you watch as a married couple goes from heel to face, heel to face, heel to face in rapid succession.
So are you saying this is
the way information is fed to them.
Are you saying this entire anime is Big Show booking?
Oh, but it's still compelling. It's like, all right.
Still
I wouldn't say it's not Big Show booking. Here's what I would say: what you're watching is you're watching the career of a wrestler from start to finish in 22 minutes. That's what you're watching. I'm dead serious, because like there's episodes where it's just like there's a few episodes where it's clear like this person's the bad person, that person's the good person, and this matters because like the good person gets reincarnated, the bad person just fucking dies. They just disappear. Their soul dead. So you have like this thing. So like basically the whole plot of the anime is when two people die at the same time, they arrive in I forget what the bar is called, but they arrive in this place. And all their memories have been stripped away from them. So they remember who they are, but they don't remember that they've died, and they don't know what's happening, right? So you've got Deckham here, who's the gentleman in the center with all the games laid out in front of him. He says, we're going to play a game. Please push this button. I'm going to serve you a drink. We're going to play a game. The first is a married couple. And as the game is being played, the stakes elevate in very particular ways. Like, for instance, the first game is darts. And then at a certain point, they make it so that if you strike certain things, you're actually hitting the organs in the other person's body. So, as they play this game, they start getting their memories feeded back to them out of sequence. This leads them to jump to conclusions and not have the full story as to exactly what's going on. And this happens in every single episode with every set of characters, right? As they go through this. And now I'm not going to spoil anything else, because all you need to know after that is things rapidly change in and out between the characters that are always playing these games. And it's fascinating. The whole thing is fascinating.
I'll tell you one thing. One of the if it wasn't until wrestling that I would go, man, I love it in series when the bad guy becomes the good guy, and vice versa. Now I just say, oh shit, face turn, heel turn.
Yep.
It's just it is such an amazing term to put in your vernacular, people.
Yeah, it really it's a lot easier to say, because I mean, I could sit here and talk about like the actual the best face turn in all of anime, because I believe that show is an anime.
Are you saying
that ever happened? I'm talking about Avatar.
You're talking about Avatar. Knew it. You knew it.
Yeah,
knew it. You're
Avatar.
gonna say Avatar. Well, I knew you were gonna say Avatar the moment when you say I consider this an anime.
Yeah, that's like,
No,
I consider it an anime.
Nobody's gonna say that like with, oh, I consider this an anime reboot. Nope, that doesn't.
Okay, so and now I want to get to the person that brings us full circle. And this is my third favorite slide to make, because anytime I get to talk about the world God only knows, I'm a happy person. If you don't know what the world God only knows is, I'm not going to explain it here. Well, actually, I have to. Okay. Keima Katsuragi.
Ian doesn't shut up about this series, by the way.
I don't. If I could, you know what? If I could enter this man into CWF, I totally would. And I could write a dissertation piece on how I could enter this man into CWF. But anyway, Keima is a stupid little otaku weeb boy that plays visual novels and is referred to as the god of conquest on the internet, because he is able to complete any visual novel that you put in front of him.
Wait a minute, that doesn't sound like pro wrestling.
Just you wait. Keima signs a contract with the demon that makes it so that he has to go around conquering, I hate that word,
wooing.
He has to wooing other actual women, in order to remove what are known as loose souls inside of them. The loose souls are demons that are wedged inside of them that are going to use them to do terrible things. So he teams up with a demon, a good demon, because some demons are good in this universe. Man signs up. Wow, it's WWE. Exactly.
Sign a contract.
So
I love that. Well,
so
sign a contract with demon.
He ends up using his knowledge of visual novels in order to assist him on each conquest.
So already from the bat,
on each flight.
Already off the bat, we have the kayfabe, because now Keima, who does not even talk to a real woman, has to pretend to be Super Casanova woman wooer.
Not well, and it's not even all the time that, like, he puts on so many different facades of a kayfabe for each different person. So like Ayumi, who is my favorite and the first one, she's a track runner, and it's while he's getting used to it, he's just being a silent fan by having these expressions of cheering her on, just from the top of the stairs to where the track is. So like banners will come down and stuff, and he'll send her, like, the last thing he does is he gives her a basket with shoes in it. She gets like really upset, and he uses these tactics that he thinks about, and he's like plotting his chess move. Like, he plans out his whole match before it happens, generally. And he will play the bad guy or the good guy at the start. Like with Ayumi, he's technically playing the bad guy, because Ayumi already knows who he is, because they're in the same class. But also, their interactions are bad to start, so that makes him the bad guy in the situation. because he puts a negative reaction. But he goes whole like in explaining it to Elsie, who is his demon partner. He goes, a negative reaction can lead to more reactions and more like interactions between the two of us. Therefore, it has the ability for me to make things happen quicker. So he turns a negative reaction into a positive one, going from heel to face by the end of their arc. And each girl is broken up into arcs. So you've got like different girl from arc to arc. That's what I should have put. Each arc gives a new role. My favorite one, at least in the first season, is when he is up against an idol who has this fear of not being recognized or being seen by other people. And she goes to his school. And he doesn't know anything about her because he thinks that real idols are dumb, and he thinks that virtual idols are the wave of the future because they're perfect and real idols aren't, and et cetera, et cetera. And he has a lot of warped worldviews. And it's because of this that when she's like on the roof of the school, because they have a really nice roof for their school, which people can go to relax in, she's like, oh, do you want an autograph? And he's like, who are you? And she pulls out a taser and tases him, which is shaped like a cat with cat paws, like literally. He plays to win. Essentially, he wrestles to win. I would say he's nearly undefeated, but he's not.
Hi,
He's
honey.
not. Hi, Jill. He's not undefeated, and that makes me sad. But and that's because I consider two things. I consider he has 2 losses in his win-loss column. If we were ever to talk about that, but yeah, this series is 3 seasons long with several OVAs. I highly recommend it. He is just like a professional wrestler. With the character arcs that he goes through, and he himself has his own arc, which is absolutely fantastic.
So what you're saying is that Kama, World God Only Knows, is an example of ring psychology.
Yes, actually, yeah, that's what I need to put. It's a very big. I guess that's the word, the phrase I was trying to find.
You're welcome.
He uses a lot of ring psychology to make things work.
Ring psychology is a term that we went over during the last Fanimania, which is basically in wrestling, you pretty much have every single move at your disposal that you can do. But it's not about doing every single move. It's doing the right moves at the right time to elicit the right response and to elicit a story.
Yeah, and it's cool because later he finds other people with who are a part of this squad. So he finds out about like 2 other demons and 2 other people that are helping these demons, a part of the Loose Soul squad, and both of them. One of them goes about it in a more extreme Casanova sense, and he's bad at it. And the other person is this wonderful.
Thank you for the bits, Joe. I love you.
One of them is this lovely little old lady who just goes around having day-to-day interactions with each person, and her method is slow, but it's consistent. So it's kind of like she's playing Animal Crossing and talking to all her neighbors. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. All right. So now that we've talked about like some of the harder stuff, let's just move on to what the easy targets are.
Yeah, that's
Tiger Mask, Kinnikuman, Ultimate Muscle, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, Naruto, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Yu Yu Hakusho, My Hero Academia, Hajime no Ippo, Saint Seiya, Hatage Kemono Michi, Fairy Tail, Zatch Bell, any anime with a tournament arc, any anime with crazy attack names, any anime where over time the powers get stronger, possibly weirder / cooler. Practically every shonen battle anime.
I want to like highlight a few of these. Like number 1, okay.
Oh yeah.
Tiger Mask, Kinnikuman, self-explanatory. DBZ is more anime than more wrestling than people give it credit for outside of big guys fight. Number 1, Vegeta face turn.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. That was what was just literally on the brink of my mind. Vegeta's face turn is like, I would say, in the top 10 of heel to face turns that ever exists.
Piccolo face turn.
Piccolo face turns really good. Uh, it's only good though because Gohan exists.
Well,
If Gohan didn't exist, it would be bad.
but I think the most overlooked aspect is that the Spirit Bomb is the equivalent to the Yes chant.
Yeah, the Spirit Bomb is the equivalent to the S chant. It's really because it needs people in order to do it.
Yeah, these are easy targets, and I assume is the next slide about mid cards and putting over.
So that's the thing. I wanted to talk about Pops and Heat.
Okay.
We didn't talk about Pops and Heat like at all.
Yes, Angelica, lots of so much shown in Jump anime. Thank you for all the biddies. Yay.
So what's a moment just to ask you, G, and then anybody out in the chat can also talk about what's a moment that you've popped at. So pop is again a positive reaction to what you're seeing, and then heat is a negative reaction. So what's something that really made you pop off when watching one of your favorite anime?
Takamura versus Brian Hawk. When
that's a good fight.
when Takamura slips the final punch.
Yeah.
I think that's a good pop moment. Or anytime a character comes back for like the last minute save. That I can't name a specific anime, but like a shit ton of them do it.
So here's something wrestling doesn't do, which I mean, to me, it does it now inside of my head because I always think about it. But that moment in any anime ever where the music of the first opening or just the opening itself starts playing.
Oh, that's classic.
Those always get me to pop really hard. Really, really hard. I love those moments when Goku Tony Hawk rail grinded it. Dang it, Daniel.
That's a
I mean, that's actually something that happened. If I'm remembering correctly from Super, that is actually something that happened. Hold on one second.
I hear the sync. How you doing, chat? How are you liking AXtreme rolls? Especially, highly recommend if you can go back and watch Suplex Art Online. Those are some really good, engaging matches.
That was my downstairs neighbors. That was not my sink. Anyway.
Oh,
pretty much anything in Gurren Lagann is pop worthy. That is definitely
amen.
True. That is definitely true. One of my favorite things to jeer at is Sword Art Online as a whole. There, I said it.
Wow. Hey, Ian, how did you get splinters from the bottom of that barrel you've been scraping?
Yeah, I did. They're all over my hand. I need to go soak them out with vinegar. Honestly, actually, one of the moments that really made me jeer, I and this is sort of also, I guess, bottom of the barrel. Something that really gave me heat is, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it really quietly. Whenever Ash Ketchum gives up a Pokemon that he shouldn't freaking give up.
Well, wait up. Can you say that counts as heat? Because that's not the intended reaction. Because I would say heat in anime would be something like when when the bad guy hits the innocent bystander. That's heat. That's
when Dio kisses oh man, I forget her name.
Jonathan's love interest.
Jonathan's girl. Yeah, when Dio kisses Jonathan's love interest.
That's heat.
When Dio kicked the dog. Like when Dio does anything. Those are big heat moments.
That's a good example.
Dio kissing Jonathan's girl is Age of Orton level shit. Yes,
Age of Orton
really is super. Because do you remember when he handcuffed Triple H to the ropes and then kissed a knocked out Stephanie McMahon after RKOing her? Oh.
Jill gave me the best example of something that's pro wrestling and not pro wrestling. in a not pro wrestling setting. And are you familiar with Prince of Tennis, Ian?
Oh yeah,
The
yeah. That's I know I didn't put it on the easy targets list. It's an easy
but
target.
the Autobay chants.
Yeah.
Autobay, Autobay, Autobay.
Yeah, like I said any shonen battle series. I also should have thrown up some like sports series as well, because Prince of Tennis, while it is not true to like what tennis actually is, because it's superpower tennis bullshit, um, which is fine because it's still good. Um, yeah, it's super like wrestling. The Tetsuga zone, like all the weird things that exist in that show, just my god. So I didn't really like talk about mid carders at all because I didn't get to ever think of something for mid carders, but I wanted people to know what mid carders were.
Well, I think this is where we could talk about carding and jobbing and putting over because stuff like
Yep.
shonen anime really does a really good job of slotting their power
Oh,
levels.
yeah.
Like,
I forgot about that part. So really quickly, I'm gonna go back to the easy targets list because there is a really good anime on this list, but it's an easy target, so I didn't want to talk about it, and I have to find its equivalent, in my opinion, that talks about carding. If not, I'm just gonna have to throw this anime on there, which is Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho has a tournament arc that is designed as a wrestling that, like, literally, if you look at it, it is correctly designed to card out a series of matches. Like, literally every round is carded in a specific way.
or One Punch Man too.
One Punch Man is another one,
Like,
yes, but
like
One Punch Man does it with with like the hero organization and the rankings.
they do, but it's also like, okay, Moomin Rider. If you beat Moomin Rider, it's like, okay, you're a pretty big threat. And then when you start beating up the higher level heroes, like, oh shit, like
Mhm.
I love it. There is this video. It's called "Looking for Anime's Greatest Jobber," and in the list of the discussion is Buggy the Clown.
And I would say Boogie is definitely on top tier of that list.
Like Buggy the Clown is such a good
100%.
jobber because he always loses and he's weak,
Yeah.
but he's just like everybody knows, like, oh shit, it's Buggy the Clown, he's gonna get his ass beat. If I would ever do CWF, I'd kill to be Buggy. We already have a Buggy, unfortunately, but I'm sure that you could be a different Buggy. Top jobber tag team, Jesse and James.
Jesse and James are the top jobber tag team, 100%. They, for one, because they always lose. But the interesting thing is, as a tag team, they are jobbers. But if you spread them apart and look at their singles careers, they're actually really intelligent and really, really good. Jessie has won some of the, if I remember correctly, she's maybe won like a couple of the beauty contests that she's done when they did the beauty contest thing. And then James has won a few Pokemon battles when he's fighting by himself. So that they're a trio that literally share one brain cell. And then when you split them apart, you realize that they both have a brain cell each, and they actually can use that brain cell to function. But when they come together, they only have one brain cell to share between the two of them. But yeah, the Yu Yu Hakusho has this really cool, and their backstory is one of the best. Yeah, I would say that. But Yu Yu Hakusho is this really cool thing with the Dark Tournament where every match is it's a stable match. It's essentially
Survivor
in a great way
Series.
to put it, it's Survivor Series or War Games, because some of them actually ended with like a bunch of them in the ring at the same time.
Do they have
So
two rings? If they had two
yeah,
rings.
well, they didn't have the two rings, but well, technically they did. But yeah, no, it's a Survivor Series style match, but it's fought as a 1v1 without tag outs, because you're not allowed to tag out. You have to go until somebody's dead or gives up. And my favorite thing about these fights is when you can instantly tell who the jobber is, especially in the first round when they fight Show's team. the dude who's the drunken fighter that ends up fighting against Yusuke after he comes in as a substitute. But like you get the guy who's supposedly the leader to stand up against Hiei, and Hiei's just like, no, I'm done with this. I'm just killing this guy. And he just Dragon of the Darkness flames him, and that guy's instantly the jobber. You get the amazing mid-card match between Kuwabara and the kid with the yo-yos, whose name I can't remember right now. And Kuwabara is like a mid-card person personally.
I personally think jobber talk is infinitely more fun than anything. Dude, I love talking about jobbers. In fact, Ian, if I be may, I think if we want to talk about manga and anime, the martial art style that jobs the most while also putting over the other character the best, sumo. Ever notice in a martial arts anime, whenever you want to put over like somebody's big and strong, they always take out a sumo wrestler.
Yep. Now that I think about it, that is very true.
It's either they'll take out a sumo wrestler, or if they just want a really quick like enemy to give legit cred, they'll say American boxing champion.
Listen though, Domon Kashu versus Chibbity Crockett is like one of the best fights in anime.
Hey. Dude, I don't knock boxing, dude. Freaking Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple.
I'm just gonna leave this up in case anybody has any questions, since we're just on like jobber and carding talk.
Would you say Moon Rider is a jobber?
No.
Would you say
not even like outside of CWF Moomin Rider? I don't think he's a jobber.
Yeah, I'm talking about characters, not.
I think he's in over his head, but I don't think he's a jobber.
Would you say Krillin's a jobber?
No, hell no. Yamcha's the jobber of that group.
Okay.
Krillin can win fights. Krillin just does stupid stuff, and also forgets that the Kienzan exists all the time. But no, seriously, 100%. Krillin, Yamcha's the jobber.
Oh, okay, Yamcha's the jobber. Buggy's the jobber. I'm thinking about what else. I think Winston Payne is my favorite example of a jobber.
Who's my favorite example of a jobber?
Krillin, Ken, and Will, and Krillin got the girl in the end. Yeah, now we're thinking. I love this. Is like the best type of discussion.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like who my favorite jobber is.
Where people have to stop and think like, "Whoa, who's a good jobber?" Oh, another reason why JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is like an anime is freaking Speedwagon is the Jim Ross.
Oh yeah.
He literally like, oh my god, Joseph Joestar.
Oh my god. It's not Dan.
Dan ain't a jobber. Dan
Hibiki?
No, Dan Hibiki's I want to say he's a gatekeeper.
I would say he's a little bit of both.
Okay, I think Mr. Satan's a legit gatekeeper because like he's the strongest human, but he's not a jobber. Because
is he though? Is he?
Whoa! Satan does a lot more stuff than Yamcha. If we put Satan and Yamcha together, Satan could probably fluke something out. Because remember,
but is he stronger than Krillin?
Well, remember, the principle of the jobber is not how strong they are; it's how the narrative frames them.
That's true. Oh man, this is really hard.
Would Oolong be considered a jobber? Hey,
this makes me want to go back to my list.
Hey, if we want to talk about carding and putting people over, let's talk about Avatar, and let's talk about how the tournament arc really put over the Boulder, only to establish how good Toph is.
It's true because Toph is the main eventer, and so. I found this out recently because I knew the voice always sounded familiar to me, but I never knew that the Boulder is voiced by Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
but he's based off The Rock. So who better to get to play a copy of Dwayne The Rock Johnson than Mankind, who is the guy who spent over half his career just feuding and tag teaming with The Rock.
But like you have to think about it, where literally the pro wrestling show that the Avatar gang watches was SmackDown booking. Okay, whoever goes through this tournament arc fights the champion, and then the champion still wins.
Yeah. Oh, I need to pull up something real quick. Hold on.
This is
I'm trying to like think about it.
I found out about Boulder literally yesterday. Boulder's amazing. The Boulder is conflicted.
My favorite jobber in Avatar is the water tribes, the northern water tribes, not son, but the guy who's gonna marry his daughter.
Oh,
the fiance to
the
his
dude
daughter.
who freaking jobbed out to
Jobs out to Sokka.
yeah.
He super jobs out hard to Sokka. I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
Well, the thing about Avatar is there's not a lot of jobbers, just because
Okay.
there's not a lot of jobbers in
Okay.
Avatar, but Avatar really does a good job of putting their main characters over.
Okay, this guy is technically a jobber. He's technically a jobber. From Case Closed, Detective Conan.
Of course, you're gonna bring up Case Closed.
Yeah. Any time to jump on a soapbox, right,
dude,
G?
wait, season 1 Zuko. Actually, yeah, season 1 Zuko could be considered a jobber,
Season 1 Juco could be considered a
just
jobber.
because, like, oh my God, Katara finally beat Zuko.
Yeah. But everybody's beating Zuko at this point. He's bad.
Sokka didn't beat Zuko. But then again, Sokka was more of a manager. He was basically the manager character, and instead of throwing like dust in people's faces, it was his boomerang.
So I forget what his English name is because I've been watching it in Japanese recently, but Kogoro. Mori Kogoro, Ron's father or Rachel's father.
Oh,
if you watch the English version.
Oh, the Watson type character.
Well, look, he's not the Watson character. He's just like he's another detective. Like they don't really treat him like anything. Like if Conan was still Shinichi, then Shinichi would have him as a jobber because that guy is a detective, but he's a bad detective. He's poor at it.
Well, I say Mori Kogoro is like the Watson just because the conclusions he draws is what the audience would be drawing with the information at hand. Oh yeah, okay. Alan Zemega.
Not all the time.
Alan Zemega says Zuko can't get jobberlier than that. The man needed a recovery arc.
How?
We talking androids or Namek in terms of season 2 Vegeta being a jobber?
I'm trying to think of who else is a jobber.
Yeah, because usually, because there's goons. Remember, there's goons and then there's jobber. We want.
Oh, I know. Okay. Cardfight Vanguard has this player. His name is Katsumi Morikawa, and he is the worst player in the series because he stacks his he like builds his deck with level 3s. And level 3s are the strongest cards, but in order to play level 3s, you have to play a level 1, a level 2, and then play a level 3. He never has level 1s or level 2s in his hands. And this there's a reason why this proves that he's a jobber. In a tournament, they made him play a deck that didn't have nothing but level 3s in it, and he actually beat somebody. So because he's stupid and just goes, level 3s are the strongest cards, I have like 18 level 3s in my deck, which you should never, by the way, in a game of Cardfight Vanguard, he loses a lot.
But I think it's really important no, Duke Devlin's not a goon. And I think there's
he's a mid-carder.
So so goons, the thing about anime that makes it tricky about talking about jobbers is because if you want to put someone over, you have them fight a lot of goons. But goons are not important. In wrestling, jobbers are important, storyline wise.
So the difference between the two, at least in like wrestling, goons could be considered. How do I put this?
Well, no, goons is when like they go get when security rushes the stage.
Yeah, that's one of them. But I would also say that there is a wrestler that is a type of a goon in the way that we're talking about like anime goons, which is the jobber that they bring in who is a nobody to everybody outside of the local crowd.
So you're talking
Does
about
that make sense?
you're talking about the local when the local talent gets squashed.
When the local yokel is there, yes.
Fun.
Yeah, when the local talent gets squashed on national television, like it's cool. They got a local guy. I think they should always do that more often anyway.
You're
'Cause it
saying
shows
like
that
when
they-
Braun Strowman was beating up jobbers, those were goons.
Yeah, yeah, those were goons.
Not
because you
jobbers.
didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know who they were. You didn't know who they were. You didn't care about them. Whereas like a jobber, like
Old Ty
Zack Ryder
or old Ty Dillinger.
or old Ty Dillinger, you care about those wrestlers still because you want them to succeed. Which, by the way, he's better than Sean Spears anyway.
That's why I said Ty Dillinger.
Like my favorite jobber shouldn't actually, in my opinion, be a jobber at this point, and that's Orange Cassidy. Because Orange loses all the time.
Oh yeah, doesn't he have a 100% loss rate?
I think so. Which is disappointing because I really think he should have beaten Chris Jericho.
Well, I mean, he's the Shikimaru of AEW.
He is the Shikamaru of AEW. He really is. But like
that's why I don't want to call him a jobber, just because he's not losing because everyone's better than him. He's losing just because it's like, I'm Orange Cassidy.
Well, no, like if you haven't, I've watched highlights at least, and I want to watch the full match at some point. But like Cassidy versus Jericho, and like Cassidy versus Neville were the two matches where he's like, no, I'm trying. Like Jericho lit a fire underneath his character's butt, and like that was cool to see. Like you got to see this different side of Orange Cassidy.
All right, well,
we just love wrestling, guys.
We love wrestling, but that is 4 p.m. I want to thank Ian. Be sure, Ian, please type your name and Weeb Speaks into the chat so people can see you and give you a follow.
I wonder, am I able to post a link in chat, or is it going to shadow stop me?
I'll go ahead and try to do that for you. You want me to link Weeb Speak?
Yeah, I got both of them. I'll just send both of them to you. I'll type them out and then just copy and paste real quick. I play video games. I am currently a Twitch affiliate. But yeah, I play video games on Twitch.
Oh, I got you. I can do it. I can put those links.
Okay.
Thanks. Now, don't leave just yet, because we're going to actually move over to the CWF fan server. So if you haven't had a link to the fan server, do that now, because we're going to have a viewing party of AXtreme Rules 2019. We're all gonna get.
I was not at 2019. I was at 2018.
Good chat. Nice seeing you here, Alan. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Alan, for joining. Thank you, everybody who is here. I promise to have a better version of this panel in the future.
Hey, at least now it's like preserved.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys all have a great time. I have to go do some stuff now.
All right, we'll see you next time. Actually, we'll see you soon. I'll meet you in the next channel. Bye.
Bye.